programming, right? When we learn and master different virtues, we really take control of programming and connecting ourselves in everything, the emotions we put out, the types of ways we solve problems. It
Hmm.
all comes together. And that's why I think transformation is such a fun thing to talk about right now because we're always transforming, right? You're
Always.
always changing.
Every single day we wake up, we get to choose how we're going to move forward. And that choice, how we're going to move forward, allows us to be in transformation, doing it one way or staying in the same way that we've always done it.
So right now, even sitting here, you're transforming something. You're transforming a communication of molecules in the room. You're transforming the nutrients that you need from the drink. You're transforming your thought into what you want to create next. You're
Or you're transforming words from English to another language or hearing it, your interpreters, which is always kind of fun, and translating it into how it fits into your life. Because really, each word transforms into being something that you can, I mean, we know this,
Mhm.
be whatever you interpret from all your times and places of your life to help you understand what it means to you. Because just one word for him is totally different than what the word means for me and for you, because we have all felt it differently.
Yeah, so we talk about these big virtues, but each of them have their own sort of unique signature of us, and that signature is what emotions we are able to use with it and how we use it to solve problems. And it all comes together in creating this sort of subconscious connected programming of everything we experience and everything that we do. So transforming and knowing in every moment, you have that opportunity. It's right in front of you. What do you want to do with it? Right now, what do you want to do at this moment? But what are you going to do later when somebody gets angry or somebody shows up and says, hey, that's not exactly what you had planned? You get the opportunity to really kind of embrace this energy and see what's inside of your cells.
Well,
Do,
because you can actually just take a little pause and just be like, okay, is this how I want to respond? Because when we really start to recognize our emotions, we're able to take that minute and be like, okay, is this how I want to respond to this or react in this moment to this person? Because we always have a choice. Sometimes we can feel that bubbling up, and all of a sudden, like you said, it could feel like anger is just coming up. And then all of a sudden, we're like, Is that really what I wanted?" And then just take a deep breath and be like, not really. So, how can I change it really quick? And then just either don't respond and let it slide and let them feel through so you can recognize how to change it next time or change it in the moment. That's really up to you.
yeah, so we actually spend a lot of time not really embracing this virtue so well and just sort of taking in the reality of others' energy and vibration. Somebody comes in and says, don't be happy. And we go, well, why shouldn't I be happy? And then they explain all the reasons why we shouldn't be happy. And rather than taking that vibration that they're sort of giving into yourselves and transforming and saying, well, that's not really me, we just sort of, well, okay.
We just kind of adapt to it and go, I guess that I'll have to be part of that because, well, it may be group consciousness, or it may be something that helps me be accepted, or it may help me get into a membership or friendship or something that feels more important than what's within. And that's really what it comes down to is being our own true self, because that's what our algorithm is all about, is being our true selves.
Yeah. So your intuition, your connection, your vibration of your manifestations, they all need a signature of you and your ability to transform anything around you into fulfilling and understanding and connecting to maximize that moment, right? Right now, you're maximizing the amount of oxygen that you are getting in each breath. You're not thinking about it,
No, that's your autopilot.
but you're maximizing it, right? You're connecting to it. You're going, that's what I need. And you're so intelligent, your body's so well trained that it goes, what I don't need is this stuff that I'm breathing out. It needs to go far enough away that I don't breathe it back in.
Of course. And if we're sitting in a room full of people, we're doing the same thing. So he's sitting next to me and we're just kind of doing it together. But we don't think, oh my gosh, we need to get rid of this carbon dioxide all the time. No, we're doing other things. We're focused on so many other things in our life.
So how come we can do that with molecules of air, but we can't do that with our connected emotions of the people around us and the expectations and pressure that we're feeling? How come we take in the pressure of what's going on and what we think someone is expecting in that moment, and we allow it to make it the energy that we're transforming into constantly. And the answer is really just a lot of pressure, right? We talk about a lot of pressure, we know a lot of pressure, we add to a lot of pressure. We have all these lower vibrational things that really pull us away from an ability to transform, right? Fear will pull us away from an ability to transform when we don't know how to use it correctly.
Absolutely. Fear can be a wonderful tool if we are in trouble or we have to run away from something, but it has become so mainstream that it now kind of is used as something as a easy stressor or to get away from the things of the world that are really just pushing us to be moved from this direction to that direction. And we see it every day.
Think about one thing that you're trying to transform in your life right now. And I bet you it's going to be a lot easier to find all the things that are stopping you from being able to transform it than all the things that are around you that are tools to work.
And sometimes those are our focuses. Sometimes we get so much either our body takes over because we have physicalities that have problems, or sometimes we have other people that are in the room and we're all empathic. We can feel other people. So sometimes that can move us, that can create us and cause things that take us away from those growths, those improvements we want to have, the transformation that we are all looking for to improve our better health, our life, our everything.
So when it comes in and we feel a specific emotion or vibration and we go looking, well, are we going to use the virtue of transformation and the right method of problem solving? We have to look at what our cells know.
Hmm.
We have to look at what we're programmed and kind of connected to see. And we're connected to see a lot of limitation and accept that limitation just because someone said that's the reality. That's one of my favorite phrases in the whole world
Yeah.
is that's just the real world. And I always marvel that it comes out of people's mouths, but it does all the time. That's the real world. And I know a zillion people that that's not their real world. There's 8 billion people in the world and there's a whole bunch of them that that's not their reality. But for some reason, in that statement is the idea that that's it. That's just one way it is for everybody. Just accept it. You're supposed to accept it, and your neighbor's supposed to accept it. And there's not an inkling as to why. And I heard this great interview about how we're kind of born with a scientific mind where we want to know our why. We want to know our why so badly that we ask those questions, right? Why? And it creates such a pressure because sometimes the people don't know the answers. And if they don't know the answer, they get overwhelmed and they put the pressure back onto you in the only way that they know how, right? And we start living in this idea that that's sort of just the acceptable way that we transform. We're going to follow the same pattern. We're going to end up in the same place. And we try to validate that in a lot of ways. So
Hmm.
transformation as an energy, instead of being this big, powerful tool, becomes an energy that just kind of gets modeled into repeat and follow the same and follow the same.
But it's kind of easy to do so considering the fact that usually everything we have going on in our subconscious, it's easy. It's something that we already know. It's something that is comfortable. We're already following it. So if we want to go out of our comfort zone and do something different, well, we have to kind of work with our subconscious, help us understand that, hey, these things have to be able to change and move. And we have to accept that and recognize how it's going to be going forward in order to actually notice the change because it's just easier to go, hey, I've been working with anger for so long. It works for me. I know how it works. So I'm just going to keep it because I know how to create with it. But if it's not really working for you because this person next to you is always having their feelings hurt and it's the person you love in your life, well, then it's not really working. And if you're trying to change it, then that makes it easy. And it's always going to be easy until you recognize that that's the emotion that you're working with in order to change it.
So just think about the word, the vibration of the word, real quick. What does it mean whenever you hear in your language transformation? What is the image that it brings to you? What does it create?
Is it like it's New Year's? I'm transforming into whatever I want. Yay! Happy New Year. Let's make resolutions.
All right. Now that you have that idea of what that means to you, what emotions do you feel when you hear that word?
Is it like, oh, I'm so sad because I never follow anything I want to do in order to transform? Or
Or is it like I'm tired of transforming because I just moved from one hard thing to another hard thing to another hard thing? Are you so in the vibration of that word with another emotion that feels so difficult that you want to avoid it? Like, transformation, no good. I'll stay 10 feet away.
or do you find that you have different interpretations of transformation for different parts of your life? Because transformation doesn't just have to be one part, it can be several different parts of your life.
Now, the interesting thing about all this is you're learning and navigating that mastery, your connection to that vibration, and how you're going to use it. And once you do that, your next step is that when someone else comes up to you, they can have an entirely different experience and interaction with that word and you not feel overwhelmed. So if someone came up to you right now and said, that's not what transformation is, this is what transformation is, what would your reaction be?
Could you be true to yourself? Or would you be influenced and swayed? Let's say it was something that you absolutely loved and adored and you looked up to. How about now?
Yeah. If they come in and they say, no, that's not what transformation this is, does your definition change so much? Or do you just go, you know what, that's too much. Maybe I'll just avoid that vibration. Let's just forget that word. That was way more stress than I thought I needed today. Way more stress.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it can be. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at least when you recognize it, you can figure out your why.
And that's the same thing that our subconscious is feeling that pressure, right? It's feeling that pressure from every one of our interactions with the emotions and how we're solving the problem, how everything around us is reacting. And then it's letting us know, well, should we actually learn this? Or how hard is it to learn this? And
And
we're going to be real honest. You're going to choose the virtues that are easier to learn
for sure,
first. Those are the ones you're going to learn first.
because it's easy. We all like it to be easier. We don't want it to be hard. If we would all want it to be hard, then we'd all be doing it.
And here's the really interesting thing is that none of them really have to be hard to learn either.
No,
But we're programmed from our ancestors and from these other places, some of these vibrational reactions.
group consciousness, whatever.
So instead of developing a relationship with these different energies and this different mastery,
Thank you.
we kind of pause and our subconscious goes, well, that's something we'll put on the back burner and we'll work on it. And think about all the different things we're working on. Okay. We always talk about things that we're working on. And you guys know that we think we're always doing belief work, right? You woke up today, you're doing belief work. You're deciding right now what you want to listen to in this conversation. That's belief work, man. That's deciding what you want to take away from a moment and growing with it. 101. It's that simple. We just know that if you really dig deep, you can change a whole bunch of these things instead of just one at a time, because one at a time seems a really slow way to get to understand
Not that
yourself.
it's a bad thing. If that's the way that you need to do it, that's perfectly fine.
But within all that interaction, your body already knows the pressures that you're moving through. It
Hmm.
knows what your reaction is. So if you're going to step into transforming in a good way, does your good way allow for others' good ways?
And it does it outweigh the hard way that you've already made it, which may be working for you.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance that if we're not transforming in a way that the world can see, then nobody knows we transformed. And if nobody knows and nobody sees you do these awesome things,
Then
what's
who
the point?
validates you?
Yeah, what's the point, right?
Are you able to validate yourself and go, I did it. It's fine. I don't need anybody else to see it.
I went 30 years without being able to communicate some of the things I went through because I didn't think it needed to be communicated.
Yeah.
I assumed being around a whole bunch of great intuitive people that the information they received would be interpreted exactly the same way that I interpreted it because I could only see through my lens, right? So I was like, oh, they'll get it because that's the way I did it. Instead of, oh, they'll see it, but maybe they'll interpret it through their perspective. We're opening ourselves to communicate all the time and our energy communicates, but we don't clarify. We don't ask a question. I guarantee every one of these translators in this room has come up to us at some point and asked, "What do you mean?
Of course.
You said this. I responded like this, but what do you mean?" Because they want to make sure that it translated correctly.
Which we love you for and we really appreciate for.
And one of the reasons we love you for is because how many times in our life do we not really understand? And I know it's a lot because we coach all over the place
Hmm.
and we can tell when people don't really understand and they nod.
They
It's
do.
so kind of them. It's so kind. Yeah, okay, yeah, got you. And you then go, well, why don't you ask the question? Why don't you ask, what exactly do
What's,
you mean?
yeah,
How
what are
does
you
this
really
apply to me?
asking?
This is what I'm hearing in the moment. This is what I'm desiring. What's stopping us from asking that question? What's stopping us from connecting and communicating in a moment saying, I don't understand you. I want to.
Is it embarrassment? Because usually that's the one thing that people want to stay away from. That like, I don't want to be embarrassed. If I put myself out there, everybody knows I didn't understand. But really, what it comes down to is all of us don't understand the same way as somebody else. So if we're not tearing each other down when we don't understand each other and allow it just to be asked, so many more things would be clarified and we could really just come together as an understanding of people.
I've heard about a gazillion different perspectives of pretty
Yes.
much everything. Every scientific fact, I can see them on one side, I can see them on the other side. I see data that says one way, I see
Coffee's
data
good
that
for
says
you.
another way.
Coffee's bad for you.
It all really boils down to interpretations of what we're
Hmm.
experiencing and accepting those interpretations, right? Accepting that that's what we are interacting with. So we could say coffee's terrible for you, but if you've had coffee your whole life and you know it works for you, the minute I say it, your cells are going to go, no, that's not true. How can you be so wrong? Only I'm not wrong. I'm just not right for you. Because what I'm really saying is coffee for maybe me and some of the people I've interacted with doesn't work.
And that's your own interpretation. And that is absolutely correct for yourselves.
So we have all these interpretations and we're all looking for one exact way or one exact cutout, and it doesn't work. I mean, they try to make one cutout of a virtual assistant that works for you, and that thing lies like crazy.
ChatGPT is this assistant that always lies.
I've caught it in a million lies and I've got it to tell me it's lying. I've got it to tell me why it's lying. I'm asking it to help me look at computer code. And I say, can you look at this code? And it says yes. And then it gives me back 1/4 of the code. And I said, all I said was look at it. And it says, I'm sorry, I'm programmed to simplify problems and try to make things easier. I said, but you didn't make it easier. You're making it harder.
More work.
Why are you doing this? And it says flat out, well, I'm programmed to view everything that way. Everything. And I said, okay, so basically what you're saying is you're programmed to do exactly what you're told to do, and that's to listen to whatever logic the shareholders have and how they want the interaction to be with the customer base to keep them engaged. And then it gave me this beautiful explanation that said yes. It was about 10 minutes of it explaining why it does that, and then essentially saying, you're right. That's exactly what I'm programmed to do. We are programmed like the best supercomputer ever, way better than any of those AIs or anything else that's going on. We're processing far more information. We're pulling in that information. We're deciding what to do with it in all these different situations. And you get that signal, right? You get that emotional signal that says, hey, this is the information that we're going to use. This is how we're going to solve the problem. And this is even the virtues that we're collecting. And it's all there. It's all there for us all the time. And instead, based off of all these different pressures of society, we've turned it off. Over the years, we've met people who will answer the question, how many emotions do you feel today? And they say one.
Or three.
And we're like, no, 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 no. How many times did you feel the same emotion? One. One time today. I felt sad. One emotion all day long.
But we know that it's probably not really just one, it's probably a lot more. They just aren't feeling it or recognizing it, that that's the feeling that they have because they've pushed it or suppressed it down for so long.
Yeah, if we take and get all their chemical signatures, we're gonna know there's at least 450 of those things, at least 450 emotions. Why didn't they pick up the signal of what they're experiencing? Why didn't they pick up the signal of what we're creating? Why didn't they embrace the virtues to let them create as them with higher vibrations? Because we're taught differently.
Or because it's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier just to push them aside, not deal with them, and go, yeah, I'm just going to push this down. I've been suppressing it for this long. It's not doing anything to me.
But
Or is it?
it's not really easy. It's not really easy at all. And I love being able to talk about this virtue because transforming is one of the things that we do. You drop us into any situation
Mm,
anywhere in the world, and we're gonna transform the vibration of what we're trying to say to meet the vibration of what an audience needs. We're going to
absolutely.
connect to their hearts. We're going to scan and see them, and we're going to get out the way. We're going to say, all right, we don't need our energy to have this make sense. We need their energy for it to make sense. It's about them, right? So you're transforming. You're in that situation and you're not trying to over control it. You're not trying to under control it. You're there. You're being felt, but you're also not attached to the exact vibrational understanding of yourself for the world around you to have an understanding of the concepts you're explaining. So you should be able to answer your why all the time. If you want to really move into all kinds of situations and transform into business people and athletics, and you want to coach people who are doctors and lawyers. You have to come in, transform the way that you speak to understand their connection, their enjoyment, their way of knowing things. And if you can do that, you have the highest vibrational exchange that we have. The highest vibrational exchange that we have right now is being able to arrive in every moment and be a presence. Never before in the history of the earth has it ever been such a valuable tool. Ever. You could start today. And if you're authentic, you will vault past everybody in its success because we have a whole bunch of stuff that's not authentic. We have a whole bunch of stuff where people have recorded the same takes 19 times to give you a 60-second video, and everybody looks at it and goes, oh no, that's not real. Because they can feel 60 different things or 90 different things that have been redone to try to make it look a certain way. And then you watch one. All it takes is one. You've probably done it today. One real moment. And the minute you feel it, you go, wow, that's real. That's awesome. Even if we don't like the person, even if they're totally weird people, like many of our wonderful leaders in our country right now, they are all over the place. Even if they're like that, the one thing that you cannot fault them on, they're all themselves.
I mean, that's so true.
They are definitely them.
They are putting themselves out there.
You can't change them. They put their head in the ground. They fight other people who aren't like them, but they're them all the way through and through.
And it may not be likable what they have to say, but because they're authentic, you just want to listen. It's like you want to engage, you want to be part of it. You're like, okay, yeah.
I'm in. I want to see what's going on. This is
What's
huge
happening? And for
drama.
some
Let's
reason you're
jump
not
in.
scrolling. Why am I not scrolling past?
Yeah.
You like just have to watch it. It's just it's you're sucked in.
All of this time, all these things, we were put here to be us, right? You were
Yes.
put here to be you, and you is perfect. Everything you've done from your life from the beginning until now has been in perfect connection and harmony for the information that you know. I guarantee it. I guarantee that based off what you knew, you made the decision that you knew was the best one at the time.
Mm.
Afterwards, you looked back and went, oh, wow, no, it wasn't. There was a whole bunch of new information.
But we can't take hindsight and then go back and say, oh gosh, I could have been better because I know more. How fair is that? We did great then. We're great now because we learned, we grew, we know more. And that's what transformation is, being able to understand and adjust and recognize that we have been in place and we learned more.
So you take that energy of transformation, you think about it. You just think about how many times you use it to solve. How many moments do you walk into already? You're all healers probably. Probably how you heard about it. You've probably seen this from other times and places. So how many times do you walk into a room and you go, "I am going to transform this situation"? Probably a lot.
Yeah.
Probably a ton.
You're
It's
probably
probably
walking
something you
in.
attract regularly.
Yeah, you're walking in, radiating yourself, recognizing the moment and times that you can talk to people. I mean, it's just a thing that's you just know. You just know.
And how many times when you're trying to transform everybody because you know what's possible, do you get frustrated because nobody moves? Yeah, a lot, huh? A lot, huh? Being an intuitive is one of the hardest things to do in the world. And it's so hard because you know what something can transform into. You
But
know what's possible.
but there's choice. Everybody has choices.
And so what ends up happening is sometimes you watch somebody make a terrible choice and you try to figure out how they're going to be able to avoid making that terrible choice. And you sit down and you put all your effort into it. And then they make it anyway. And you're
And
like, what a complete waste of energy.
but really, we love them for that because it was exactly what they were supposed to do in that moment in time because they were themselves.
But when you're in the energy of transformation and you're connecting to it, you're also dealing with some attachment, a lot of
Yes.
attachment.
Or learning to detach.
Yeah, because you can lead all the people into a place that they can transform that you want, and they're not all going to do it.
It's like leading a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
It's not possible.
No.
And so part of our process and part of our relationship with transformation is, well, maybe I just shouldn't use it very much because I get attached and excited and I get hopeful. And then we have this vibration of hope because a lot of these
Hmm.
virtues work together.
Hope is usually the one that most of us healers have. We all have so much hope for everything in the world.
And
Heal.
then our transformation doesn't change into what we want. And our relationship with hope starts to get a little iffy because we're like, maybe I shouldn't be hopeful. And then we really start to alter our personality because we're like, well, I guess there's really no hope then. And just like that, we're giving away and shrinking our energy, our perfection, smaller, 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 not to be felt, not to be seen, not to be communicated in different moments. It doesn't take a lot of high vibration confrontation to make transformation. What it takes is understanding the energy that you bring, knowing that you brought everything that you wished and desired and communicated, leave the opportunity for people to choose,
Hmm.
and then move forward. Move forward without waiting and hoping and holding yourself back. That transformation will happen eventually. If it's two people involved, it's two energies choosing.
But if it's you,
Then
you
you.
always have the choice.
So within those communications and that understanding, you move forward. As you go forward, think about what emotions come up as you go through this month. Every time you see transformation, every time you see something changing and coming back,
Think about the attachment that you might have, what you can do with it when you do have that hope out there with transformation for others.
think about how you solve problems and the different things that you do. And starting next month, this little thing will actually turn into three different things. So we'll start with one 30-minute little webinar where
Yeah,
we talk about a different
a virtue.
virtue. And
Hmm.
then we'll talk after that, we'll go into 30 minutes where we talk about some of the different problem solving
Yeah.
styles.
And then one that we'll do for another 30-minute. Just choose one emotion each month and we'll send it out and we'll put it on World Healers on Instagram and you guys can see it. So you can choose to be a part of it so that you know what we're talking about every month.
So we hope that we get to see you guys a little bit more. We hope you guys take a look at the energy of your virtue and connection to transformation. We hope that you guys maybe smile a little bit more today, knowing that your joy and your resonance really mean a lot to this world.
They do.
We really appreciate you guys being here and getting to spend some time with us, seeing some of your names and smiling faces. We've had a wonderful time.
We have. Thanks for
Thank you.
joining us, everyone.
Yes.
We appreciate you.
And interpreters, we love you. Thank
Yes,
you
thanks,
again.
interpreters.
We'll see you guys next time.